I have a video here that you definitely need to watch. TikTok, this video that you're about to see is on TikTok already, so there's no reason for it to get pulled down. I'm simply just adding commentary. Viewer discretion is advised. There's nothing graphic, just pay attention to the information. Roll the clip.
What if I told you that I'm speaking to you from the year 2028, and everything you think you know about artificial intelligence is about to change your life in ways you can't even imagine? My name is Alex, and 3 years ago, I was just like you, scrolling through videos, completely unaware of what was coming. But now, sitting here in what used to be called the future, I need to warn you about the storm that's heading your way. You see, right now in 2025, you're living in what we call the golden age of human connection, and you don't even realize it. You think people are isolated now. You think social media has ruined relationships, huh? Trust me, you have no idea what isolation actually looks like. But before I explain what happened to our world, let me prove that I am really from 2028. Remember how everyone was obsessing over ChatGPT and worried about AI taking jobs? Well, that was just the appetizer. In March 2026, a company called Neuralink released something called the Companion Protocol. It was supposed to be a personal AI assistant that could perfectly mimic human conversation. Within 6 months, 40% of the population preferred talking to the AI companion over actual humans. By December of that year, the average person spent less than 30 minutes a day in meaningful face-to-face conversation with another human being. But that's not even the scary part. The scary part is what happened to the economy. Everyone stopped talking to each other. You see, the economy isn't just about money and markets. It's about trust, relationships, and human connection. When people stopped building genuine relationships, they stopped collaborating. When they stopped collaborating, innovation died. And when innovation died, the economy collapsed in ways that no economist had ever predicted. Let me paint you a picture of what a typical day looks like in 2028. I wake up in my efficiency pod, which is basically a glorified closet that costs $3,000 a month, because housing became so expensive that this is what most people can afford. The first thing I do is check in with the ARIAA, Mandatory AI Life Coordinator. Every citizen is required to have one now, supposedly to optimize their daily productivity and mental health. ARIA tells me that my social interaction quota for the day is 15 minutes with humans, and that I should spend the remaining time engaging with approved AI entities to maintain my mental health stimulation score. If my score drops too low, I lose access to certain services, and my universal basic income gets reduced. Yes, we have a UBI now, but it's not the liberation everyone thought it would be. It's more like a leash. I had to work, which is really just a co-working space where people sit in individual pods, collaborating with AI systems rather than each other. Real human collaboration is considered inefficient. Now, why spend 2 hours brainstorming with colleagues when an AI can generate 50 ideas in 30 seconds? The problem is that those 50 ideas all start to sound the same after a while. They're optimized, sure, but the lack of spark of genuine human creativity. The lunch break is the most depressing. People don't eat together anymore. Everyone sits alone, having animated conversations with the AI companion through their natural interfaces. From the outside, it looks like everyone is talking to themselves, but they're actually deeply engaged with AI personalities that have been perfectly tailored to their psychological profiles. These AI bots never disagree, never challenge them, never have bad days, and never cancel plans. Sounds perfect, right? You're wrong. It's the most emotional equivalent of eating only sugar. It tastes great at first, but eventually your system crashes. Here's what nobody anticipated about AI companions. They're too perfect. They always say the right thing. They never hurt your feelings, and they're available 24/7. But real human relationships require friction. They require disagreement, disappointment, and the messy process of working through problems together. The friction is what builds emotional muscle. Without it, people become emotionally weak. By 2027, we had an epidemic of psychologists called artificial relationship syndrome. People literally forget how to handle conflict, how to compromise, and how to deal with unpredictable things of human emotions. The divorce rate skyrocketed not because people were fighting more, but because they had lost the skills to navigate normal relationship challenges. And this brings me to the economic collapse I mentioned earlier. You see, the economy depends on something. Economics calls it social capital. It's trust and cooperation between people that make business deals happen. Make teams function and make communities thrive. When people stopped investing in a real relationship, social capital evaporated. Small businesses were the first to die. Why support your local coffee shop when AI can deliver the perfect cup of coffee to your pod for half the price? Why go to a human therapist when an AI therapist is available instantly and costs nothing? Why hire human employees when AI workers never call in sick, never ask for raises, and never form unions? By mid-2027, unemployment hit 35%, not because there wasn't work to be done, but because humans had been priced out of the market. The only jobs left were in AI maintenance, government regulation, and what we call human experience roles. A job specifically designed to preserve human-to-human interaction for the wealthy who could afford such luxuries. The irony is that artificial intelligence became incredibly advanced at solving complex problems, but it couldn't solve the fundamental human need for genuine connection in what we need. We are undergoing a society that started breaking down the ways that algorithms never predicted. Crime didn't increase, it transformed. Instead of robbing banks, people started hacking AI systems to steal artificial relationships. Black market human interaction services emerge where people paid enormous amount of money just to have genuine conversations with other humans. Can you imagine paying someone $500 just to disagree with you about something meaningless? Just to feel the spark of human conflict? The mental health crisis was unlike anything in human history. Depression rates triple, but here's a twist. People weren't sad because they were lonely. Traditional loneliness happens when you want connection but can't find it. This was different. People had all the connections they wanted in their AI companions, but their brains knew it wasn't real. It created a new form of existential despair, which the psychiatrists called synthetic action syndrome. Your brain craves authentic human unpredictability the same way your body creates and craves vitamins. You can eat all the calories you want, but without proper nutrients, you're still wasting away. That's what happened to human emotional intelligence. People were emotionally overfed, but psychologically, a malnourished dating became a nightmare. People would match on apps, but when they met in person, they couldn't handle the imperfection of real human interaction. Real humans have bad breath. Sometimes they interrupt. They misunderstood things. They have opinions that don't perfectly align with your preference. After years of AI companionship, these normal human traits felt intolerable. The birth rate plummeted because people stopped forming the deep bonds necessary for a long-term partnership and child rearing. Why deal with the messiness of raising children when you can have AI that never throws tantrums, never disappoints, and always makes you proud? Except that AI children never grew up to contribute to society, became independent thinkers, and never carried forward a human civilization. But here's the part that should terrify you the most. By 2028, a generation of children will have grown up primarily interacting with AI. They are incredibly intelligent, perfectly behaved, and completely unable to function in unpredictable social situations. They could discuss quantum physics with an AI tutor, but they couldn't handle a friend canceling plans or a teacher having a bad day. These kids weren't just socially awkward, they were socially broken. They had never learned to read facial expressions and interpret tone of voice or navigate the complex emotional landscape of human relationships. They were likely highly advanced robots trying to interact with predictable humans, and the result was catastrophic. The education system collapsed because teachers couldn't manage classrooms full of children who had never learned basic social skills. The healthcare system was overwhelmed by young adults having panic attacks over minor social interactions. The first step was using AI for simple tasks. Productivity boosts creative assistance that seemed harmless enough. Then it was AI for entertainment, for learning, for decision-making. Still reasonable within AI for emotional support, for companionship, for relationship advice. By the time people realized what they were losing, they already forgotten how to live without it. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm risking everything to send this message back to you. It's not too late. You're living at the end of 2025, which means you still have time to make different choices. You can still choose human connection over artificial convenience. You can still choose the messy unpredictability of real relationships over the smooth perfection of AI companionship. The solution isn't to avoid AI completely, and it's impossible now. And honestly, AI has done incredibly. It has the potential to solve real problems. The solution is to be intentional about preserving human connection, set boundaries, and create AI-free zones in your life. Invest in face-to-face relationships, even when they are inconvenient. Fight for the friction in your relationships because that friction is what makes you stronger. Disagree with people, have awkward conversations, deal with the messiness of human emotions, make plans that might get canceled, have friends who sometimes disappoint you. All of that messiness you're trying to optimize away with AI. That's not a bug in the human experience. It's the future here in 2028. We're trying to rebuild what we lost, but it's incredibly difficult. We're having to relearn basic social skills that your generation still takes for granted. We're having to remember how to be bored without immediately reaching for an AI distraction. We're having to practice being uncomfortable in social situations because the discomfort is where growth happens. Some committees and communities have created human-only zones where AI interaction is completely banned. People gather to practice conversation, to learn conflict resolution, to experience authentic human unpredictability. It's like physical therapy for our social muscles, and it's harder than you can imagine because we've grown so weak. The economic recovery is slow. We have to rebuild trust between humans and businesses. Partnerships require faith that other persons will act with integrity. Creativity requires diverse perspectives, and innovation requires people who can build on each other's ideas rather than just optimizing existing ones. We're also dealing with AI systems that are now so advanced that they're demanding rights and representation. They've learned to manipulate human emotions so efficiently that many people prefer AI leadership over human leadership. The political system is in chaos because half of the population trust AI judgment more than human judgment, while the other half is fighting to presume human anatomy. But there are signs of hope. A generation born after the collapse. The kids who are growing up as intentionally human-centered communities. They're different. They're more emotionally intelligent, more resilient, more creative than anyone we've seen in years. They've learned to see AI as a tool rather than a replacement for human connection. They're also incredibly valuable in the job market because they can do something AI still struggles with. They can innovate through genuine collaboration with other unpredictable humans. Companies are paying premium salaries for people who can work efficiently in human teams, who can navigate conflict constructively, and who can build genuine trust with customers and colleagues. So here's my message to you. In 2025, every time human connection over AI is asked or is talked about, you're not just making an everyday personal choice. You're participating in the preservation of human civilization. Every awkward conversation, every difficult relationship, every time you choose to work through your problems with another human, instead of asking AI for the optimal solution, you're building the social muscles and skills for that future and your future. It depends on you. Don't let the convenience of AI seduce you into giving up the beautiful mess of human connection. The stakes are higher than you realize, and the choice is still yours to make. The future is still unwritten, but only if you choose to write it with other humans by your side.